Alrighty guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the Ironman. Today, it's a big one. Sailing is being released, and whilst we wait, instead of sublimely preparing for the skill itself to come out, instead, I'm going to do some combat achievements. I still really need to lock in and get the elites combined, and all the tasks required to make sure I get all the points necessary. I found a kind of interesting strat here with the giant mole. The hard hitter task, without Darox, and in substitute of that, a blowpipe and a serpentine helm, seemed to get the job done, but it didn't take long before sailing was indeed released, and I had to log myself in. It was a pleasant surprise that the game didn't crash entirely, repeatedly, and for a long period of time. We actually got to get into the game nice and quick. The only downside was when I logged in, I no longer had a max cape, so in substitute of that, we'll be sticking to the trusty crafting cape as well as a construction cape to get us around the map. But once I had my bare bones inventory set up, I went and used the Rat Pits teleport to the Port Sarim, got myself to the Pandemonium as soon as I possibly can by accessing the Pandemonium quest, of course. Now on release, none of these quests, any of these new content, these had no guides whatsoever, so it was a little bit it took a little bit longer than normal to get things completed, but in general, paying attention probably paid off. I got to learn a thing or two about sailing that, had I not read about it, I probably would not have learnt. But essentially, this is the customizable area where you can upgrade and make changes to your boats. Kind of like the player and houses domain, but for sailing, I guess. In general, it was just kind of cool to see everyone just grooving around the ocean, all of our rafts simultaneously going back and forth between the ports. But before too long, we managed to finish the Pandemonium quest. Gives us a little bit of experience. Much like the Druidic Ritual quest for Herblore, we finally got that one ticked off and we're ready to start the skill for real. So the opening route for day one, the meta for training your sailing was definitely to do some port tasks. A lot of people would go back and forth between the Pandemonium and Port Sarim, I believe, were the two major destinations of choice, and it wasn't the fastest experience in the world, but fortunately, upon release, it did not take long before a plugin was installable, aka the Port Tasks plugin. If you see that green line and its little jolting green dot as well, that is that plugin. It's kind of mind-blowing that that plugin existed within like 30 minutes of the skill itself being released. Very handy quality of life. I'm sure by the time this skill matures in the future, there'll be even more handy plugins that are installable, but it essentially just highlights where to pick up and drop off cargo and the route you could potentially take to get from A to B. And when you're conducting your Uber Eats, it's kind of nice to have a GPS system at your disposal, and the Port Task plugin was exactly that for a lot of us training the skill from the get-go. My initial goal was to get to 12 sailing. That would have enabled me to access the Prying Times quest. To do that, I had to do quite a few port tasks back and forth, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't take a huge amount of time. I think I just felt a little bit impatient and wanted to kind of have the XP rolling in a little bit faster than it did, but in the end, we managed to unlock a very secret key and complete the Prying Times quest, which also gave us a nice little boost to sailing as well. And now that we've hit level 16, or level 15 more accurately, we were able to go and buy ourselves a nice little skiff upgrade. This one, instead of riding on a pile of logs, I now have something that resembles a dinghy. It's very good of an upgrade. So the port tasks, they do continue, but the ride that I take them under, it's a little bit more fancy, as you can see here. Very, very fancy looking boat we've got going on there. Trimming the sails wherever possible, trying to deliver this cargo as best I can. I was trying to just find out what was the earliest access point where I could still access the off plank. I don't know what that thing is even called, but I'm just trying to manipulate my boat as little as possible. I want to min-max it, right? I want to enter the port as early as possible and make sure I can disembark as efficiently as I can. The skill itself isn't super fast to train in these early levels, but I wanted to make those micro improvements, I suppose. I guess one thing that didn't help me make improvements was this big ass ship that just has collision and stops you from moving. Originally, I didn't realize that was NPCs guiding that boat. I thought someone was just a Giga gamer or a Jagex mod was gone rogue, but we got ourselves a shark paint drop. This one, I think what it does is merely cosmetic, I think. I think it kind of upgrades the rim of your boat or something like that. I've not touched that item since I got it, but it was kind of nice to get myself a rare drop. But in the end, we managed to get to 22 sailing, which enabled us to access the current affairs quest. I didn't realistically dive nose first into this quest. I kind of procrastinated a little bit. I was kind of just content doing port tasks for the time being, but I think in general, my objective is to unlock the most AFK option I can possibly imagine as fast as I can realistically get it. For the time being, I don't have a whole lot of options, so I'm kind of just spamming cargo tasks. I kind of don't mind them. They're kind of not too bad in terms of AFK. You don't have to pay a whole lot of attention, and once you have the port tasks plugin installed as well, you kind of can turn your brain off a little bit. Results may vary, but it does allow you to at least get some experience and not have to do a whole lot of inputs. Now, you might have noticed some hesitation in me recommending or suggesting that the port tasks takes you in the right direction. That is because my Uber driver sent me through a pack of sharks and a pack of krakens. I didn't know what either would do to my boat. Turns out they attacked it, and eventually, the krakens in particular, they did not want a bar of me whatsoever, and they decided to promptly send me to the bottom of the ocean. So that is my first death into sailing. Our hardcore status has been lost, and we are now a regular sailor man. And I thought to myself, after I died to those krakens, stuff this, I'm going to AFK ASAP, even if it's not efficient at all. I ended up going to the small shipwrecks for a little bit, although there are like 2,000 to 3,000 experience an hour, which is quite grim. So going to head over to another salvaging spot, try and get a little bit more experience, a little bit more bang for my buck, and get myself a couple of extra levels without a whole lot of extra effort. So in the end, we did manage to get 33, 34, 35 sailing, and this is what enables us to access the Barracuda trials, is what I would say if I wasn't lazy and that was the type of content that I engaged with. What is more up my alley, however, is that there is some AFK spots in there as well. The only problem was I didn't know how to upgrade my boat or anything, so whilst I was confused and in a daze, I ended up instead completing the current affairs quest. After doing a bit of research into exactly what I needed to get to make the upgrades that I wanted possible, it was time to head to Lumbridge. This time, we're not spinning flax into bowstrings. For the first time ever, we're making linen. With the linen, at a 2-to-1 ratio, you can then convert it into cloth, and this is the material that is required to make an oak sail, I believe it is. From there, I grabbed some oak planks, went over to Catherby, converted those into hull parts. You can think of these hull parts as just compressed oak planks. It's almost like Minecraft, where you put 4 blocks together and you get one out in the end. Same thing, right? But one item I didn't anticipate on having issues with were iron nails. I thought for sure I would either have a lot of those in my bank, or I could go to Prifdinnis. That has requirements after all, and people don't do things in this game that unlock requirements. Turns out I was a bit delusional and had to make my own nails in the end, but that's okay. All roads led to success in the end. I think it was just a bit of a detour I didn't anticipate on making, but now that we have all our materials required, it's just time to go to the build mode, aka whatever this place is, and change over my hull as well as my sails. I really want a bang for buck sort of situation here. I'm not doing the trials, I'm not doing any form of combat, I'm merely sitting on my ass on the outskirts. I just need to be resistant to the Barracuda trial area. I don't need anything fancy, so we went for the absolute minimum necessary system requirements. Nothing crazy over here. We don't need the 5090 of ships. We just need something to be able to launch a Google Chrome browser, and that's all we realistically needed to make it happen. So one thing I did find interesting though, when parking at the Barracuda trials, is that there are shipwrecks. Obviously, they're littered all over the place, and if you position your ship just right, you can find spots where you can access 2 different ships at the same time simultaneously. I marked this buoy here, the one in red. This was my visual kind of reference point that kind of helped me get into position if I ever had to leave or come back. I've done that a few times, but once you find the double spot, your uptime is much higher and you can AFK much more consistently. This is the method that I use to get several sailing levels, and if you like AFKing, I recommend it. As comfy as this spot may be, I think I need to get off my ass and make some improvements. I've been quite reluctant to make upgrades, but I think this one's necessary. If I can get myself a salvage station on my boat, instead of dropping these Barracuda salvages, I can actually put them to use and maybe double or even triple the experience I'm getting per hour. I'm getting around 9,000 experience per hour, which, I don't know, sailing at the very beginning, it's been notoriously quite slow. The thing that's made it a bit of an easier pill to swallow is how AFK it is if you're positioned between two shipwrecks like this. It's not too bad, but I do need to make this improvement. So I think it is time I get off my ass and go ahead and dig up a schematic I believe is located in the Pandemonium Island. So that'll be my first thing I need to do. I might fill up my inventory first though before I leave. As a bit of a reference point, this is essentially what I'm going to be building. I didn't realize this was possible to have one of these on my boat itself, but apparently at level 42 it can happen, but you need to unlock it, so to speak. And to unlock it, you got to find yourself a bit of a blueprint. It's located in a weird spot, so I'll document that. So if you want to replicate this, if you're also trying to speed run your AFK sailing experience, I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Because as you can see, if you're using the salvages for actual experience, it's much better than just simply dropping them on the floor. It might also help me to recoup some of these supplies, or even get some feathers. At least I found where the rum is gone. So first things first, we'll go to a crew member. Doesn't have to be from Catherby. Any dock will do. Anything that's going to get us to the Pandemonium. That's all that really matters. And if we head over near the crab bank chest, pretty goated by the way, there's a little secret spot we need to dig. I'm a little torn if this is like a cool addition or if it's like a little annoying, but on one of these tiles, I don't know precisely which one it needs to be. We need to dig ourselves up. These schematics. Not in the form of the schematic itself, but the key that will unlock the box that will give me the schematic. You see why I'm kind of not 100% sure if this is the best way to do it or not? Kind of strange that it isn't just available to you by default, but that's okay. To move things along, we're going to grab our Book of the Dead and we're going to teleport over to Port Piscarilius. The Fisher's Flute, that's the one. I pretty much only remember that from like angler fishing. That's how I keep it in mind. There's probably a plugin that tells you exactly what you need to do, where exactly each spot is going to teleport you towards. Apparently my shortest path plugin is just having a seizure. That's okay. But since I teleported over here, our boat didn't come with us. So we're going to recover our boat from old mate Spencer here. We're going to pay the dumb fee. Mainly dumb because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that you're paying wizards to teleport your boat around the place, but no matter. Our boat is now at Port Piscarilius and we go to our next part of the destination. We'll head directly south from the dock over here. I'll speed up the footage so you can see exactly where you need to go, but before I speed things up, I believe we're going to this island right over here, this Chinchompa Island. Hopefully it doesn't explode if I get too close to it. I see it in the distance. There it is, the Chinchompa Island. Once we've gotten nice and close to the island, we'll dock at the buoy, get me off this boat. Once we are on the island itself, it's actually quite small. I thought it would be a bit larger than this. We're going to use this key on this chest here, and from there, we'll get ourselves the salvaging station schematic. That's a lot of S's in one sentence. But this is the key here. This is the thing that's going to double or triple my experience. I just need to put it together. Now that the schematic is unlocked, we're going to go... I don't even know what to call this alternate dimension where you teleport and you customize your boat. But because obviously I've left my boat at Chinchompa Island, I have to once again pay the magician to teleport it to where I am currently. Bit of a awkward system. I wonder if that's going to be like how this functions in the future. You just have some like random wizard just manifest, telegrabs your boat. But once you've got your boat here, we'll go and customize it. I actually don't know what I need to build this, but I'll do the research so you don't have to. That is a lovely sight to behold. 4 teak planks and 16 steel nails. That is so cheap. So yeah, if you're 42 sailing or you're close to it, you need to get this ASAP. That's so free. I love that. It's kind of like mentally preparing to get a bunch of like lead and stuff, and I haven't done that as of yet, so all these new ore types and things, I don't like to do the research, so to be able to just kind of quickly maneuver and grab some stuff out of the bank, that's a much appreciated list of items for me to get. Alright, we're back in the customized zone. This is like almost like build mode, but like build dock, like your player owned house, but you're in a building dock. I don't even know if this island is a part of the mainland or anything. Maybe it is. We're going to go ahead, go into stations, build a salvaging station. Very nice. Pretty generous the amount of construction experience you get for a lot of these things. There might be some kind of new metas created, who knows? Maybe some cheap ways or easy ways to level up construction. but that's currently not my focus. So this is huge. One other thing I believe I can do, I'm not entirely sure how, is to, similar to construction, get myself a worker, a demon butler, so to speak. And I believe Jobless Jim is someone I can speak to, a crewmate. If I set myself up a second salvaging hook, I think he'll be able to help me out and make my experience even faster. To find Jobless Jim, we need to go to Port Sarim, and I think he's hanging around the pub. All you'll need to do is hold down your spacebar for approximately 8 seconds and hit the number 1 on your keyboard. That was much simpler than I thought that may be, but very good. Jobless Jim is now employed. I just got to hook the man up with, well, a hook. I'm still using the iron one as well. I need to probably upgrade that sooner rather than later. Now we're back at the Pandemonium. I need to find some lead ore. I need to also swap my spellbook to standard. All we need, I believe, is lead ore itself, 2 of them specifically, to make the bars. So if I go into the mines over here, I'm hoping there is some lead, and what I can do is just superheat them as I go along. Might get just a full inventory's worth of bars, and that should probably keep me busy for a while. Also need to investigate how exactly that I can get a second hook up and running. It's something that I've heard about, but I've not actually seen, so I need to do more research while I do my mining as well. I believe the mining can be done inside this cave, but I could be dead wrong. There's such like a wide variety of simultaneously new content to kind of navigate, and like we're at day 1 of the skill, or technically day 2 for me. I definitely do feel like I'm trying to play catch up and learn everything all at once. And as much as it is overwhelming, it's also pretty fun. Almost finishing up here. It is hella competitive at the moment. I'm kind of like sticking to the west side, but I've seen like 7 different people and I've been here for 2 minutes. It's kind of crazy how many people are coming in and out of this spot. I guess for main accounts, it might be like good money at the moment, which kind of explains it. I kind of have like a bit of an Ironman bias, so... For a moment, I was like, why are people staying here for so long? You only need a few for various hooks and whatever, but there is always a money-making component to new content, and I doubt this one is any exception, considering how necessary it is for such key upgrades. I think what I'll do first is make myself a steel hook and see if I can implement that as a second hook upgrade. If I can get an iron and a steel hook cooking, I think I might use both of those 2 until I hit 44 and then upgrade both into mithril. I kind of can't be bothered upgrading my iron one into a steel one, only to just have it replaced 1 or 2 levels later, with I suspect pretty high experience rates relative to what I've been experiencing so far. So first things first, I believe we'll make ourselves our second hook. This will either upgrade the current one I've got, or if I can figure it out, get a second one cooking. Although, maybe I need to be on the boat to make it happen. Now, I have a slight suspicion that the reason why this isn't looking extremely intuitive is because this boat probably isn't at the size it needs to be to have 2 of these hotspots. It seems like each of these facility hotspots, they're not all made the same. They don't allow you to do identical things, and I've only got capacity for 1 hook at the moment. My suspicion is once I get to level 50 sailing, I'll have a bigger boat and I'll have 2 of these spots. So at the very least, for the time being, I can safely upgrade this into steel. And once we hit 44, potentially I can come back for it. I honestly don't know how kind of worth my time that will be. I kind of just want to rush level 50 as soon as possible and see if I'm correct in my assumptions that I need that bigger boat to make this happen. And now that we are heading south from the Pandemonium, it is time to put Jimmy Boy to a job. I gotta name change him at some point, but maybe you can't afford a bond. I'm gonna try and get into that position again. I was really nervous about moving from the spot I was in. I wasn't sure how precise I needed to be when getting between these 2 shipwrecks here. I guess I'll find out momentarily how difficult this may be. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Let's give this a shot. I think what I'll do, I'll reset my experience per hour. And from this point here, with a silver hook, a salvaging station, and a job having Jimmy, I'll see how much EXP per hour I can get up until the point that I hit level 44. Shouldn't take too long. Alright, turns out I didn't get the sweet spot. To move my boat a little bit at a time, I'm going to be using my set sails 1 tick at a time to see how close I can get. There we go. It's just 1 tile difference, man. Makes all the difference. So finicky, bro. It's crazy. I must say, even with all the screw-ups that I've been having, just trying to get this boat in damn position, it's already looking much better. I don't want to give you the current XP rate. I think that'll be a little bit misleading, but I'm definitely happy with how things are looking. Only downside is jobless Jim, he's going to remain jobless until I have that second hook. He pretty much, at best, I could get him to use the hook whilst I do all of this cleaning up the salvaging. There is 43 sailing, 1 level to go. And on that thread, like, I don't know if it's going to be worth me getting Jim to use the hook like 20 seconds at a time. But yeah, definitely regretting not banking these items. This is, it's a little bit claustrophobic on this boat, I must say. What on earth is that? Trying to cook macaroni at the moment. This is a nice surprise. I don't know if it's useful though. I went and had a look at the wiki. Apparently this thing allows me to teleport to the Pandemonium. I can charge it with water runes as well as lore runes. So, you know what? That's a pretty nice thing to get randomly. Not a bad collection log at all, but I've got myself enough salvages here. I'm sure I can get myself to 44. I think because I am so close to the Pandemonium, I will upgrade that mithril hook. I don't know if it's going to make too much of a difference. I don't know if this is like a steel axe versus a mithril axe or like what kind of comparison I could draw to this. But considering that I need to get to level 50 sailing, I believe, to upgrade my boat, who knows, over the course of a few hours, maybe it will be worth the 5-minute round trip. The only downside is that I need to get into this very specific spot once again. Who knows, it might be more generous than I'm aware of. But it's been a little bit troubling to try and get myself between these two shipwrecks so I can consistently go back and forth. But for the time being, jobless Jim and we're out of here. Oh yeah, I also got these flax seeds. I don't know how common these are. Caught me off guard. Thought I'd just mention that in case you were curious. Alright, I now have exactly what I need to upgrade my hook. I'm also going to see if it's a 1-to-1 ratio with the Pandemonium necklace. You can also unlock a few other areas. No, it looks like you need 10 water runes per lore rune that you insert. I'm actually going to OCD bank these. I want to have as much as possible inventory space while I AFK out on the ocean. And these 900 lore runes, I don't really feel like dropping on the floor. And before I forget, we're sitting at about 13,000 experience per hour there, so we haven't quite doubled what we were getting, or tripled for that matter, but I think in due time, once we get these upgrades that we're going for, we'll probably see something in the realm of 20 to 30k, but I have no idea. I've done zero research. This is a journey. And truth be told, I don't exactly know what the destination even looks like. All I know for now is that it's still hooked, just ain't gonna cut it. Oh yeah. I wonder if in the future we can mark the tiles, like the sea tiles. It's gonna be kind of strange to see what this game looks like in like 6 months' time. I did not mean to trim the sails there. This is just not it. Alright, I'll see you in 15 minutes when I've got this boat in the correct position. God damn it, so close. Quick little double click, is that going to be close enough? Hey, looking good. Alright, I'll see you in about 5 hours when I hit level 50 sailing. 50 was of course the plan, but only 45 to report on. To compensate, however, we did get ourselves an interesting drop. Back-to-back hemp seeds. As much as AFKing is in my DNA, I've heard some information downstream that is going to sway my approach to sailing at the moment. I've heard that port tasks, specifically the ones that give you bounties, can be absolutely insane. So insane that it destroys my voice box by merely making mention of it. But if we clean up these salvages, I believe we will be able to unlock the next tier of these bounty tasks. I don't know what they're called, all I know is that they start with the letter O. And I don't know if the skills menu has even made mention of them. But essentially there are birds and there are stingrays out in the ocean. And much like Hunter Rumors, if you go and collect whatever is necessary from them and bring it back, you will get yourself a hefty injection of experience. As much as I enjoy getting 13k EXP an hour very AFK, the idea that I could be doubling that, it's or even a little bit more, it's very tempting, and realistically, I want to get towards the strongest AFKing methods as early as I possibly can. And if I can unlock those faster by putting in some effort now, I think that'll be well worth the investment. So we're going to take our hemp seeds that we got back to back, a couple of bottles, I don't know how to use these things, and hope for the best. I'm going to try out with the magic method. I've seen that some of the NPCs on the ocean, they have a fair bit of ranged defense, and I'm wondering if the Eye of the Ire can carve them up pretty quickly. So I will test that first, and if that goes to shit, maybe I'll try out the Bofa. But I'm quietly confident the Eye of Ire might be okay. Intuitively, like, ranging makes a whole lot more sense, but I had a look at the defensive stats stats on at least one of the NPCs, and it looked like they had a little bit of defense for range specifically. So we're going to give Magic a shot and see how it goes. I've also heard good things about Catherby being the point of reference to begin with. I will happily cop that 4,000 gold fine for leaving my boat in the ocean. And I'm not sure if Catherby in general is like one of the best hubs to operate under. Maybe the Pandemonium is best, but for this bounty hunting specifically, definitely heard good things about Catherby. Oh, that is so tragic. I can't wear my Zamarok cape. What do I even use in substitute of that? Ew. I guess this is just gonna have to do. Alright, let's have a look. We've got some Ospreys. That is what we're looking for. I think that's what I've heard. I know it starts with the letter O, so Ospreys, right? That makes sense. I wonder if the plugin will actually show me what I need. I'll accept double birds and hope for the best. Whichever bird I come towards the fastest will die immediately, and I'll be able to evaluate how much experience I get. First things first, though, I think I need to talk to Jacob and get him to teleport my boat to me. Is what I would say if Jacob had that capacity, which he doesn't. Instead, I need to go to Sophie over here, so she can summon a wizard out of her ass and bring my boat back. Thank you so much, Sophie. Oh, these birds are like just directly here. You're kidding. Literally zero complaints if that is the case. That'll be fantastic. One thing I've noticed with sailing, and I could be proven wrong here, but I generally go into activities believing I'm gonna need a bunch of things, and it just turns out I don't. I just want to give props to that because, like, being constantly blocked on doing activities and requiring certain materials each step of the way can get fatiguing fast. So it's been a nice change of pace to anticipate those things, yet it not be the case. Like, for example, here, I might have needed a knife, a chisel, or whatever, some sort of equipment that needed to process this bird. No, I can just kill it and loot it, and I don't need anything else. The only one thing I haven't really anticipated is that this bird is going to mess up my boat. What is that? Pillar frag. That's a 1 in 166. No idea what this does. I would have thought I would have got the bounty item by now, but apparently not. Looks to be some sort of seed for growing coral, of all things. Although, at this point, I've probably killed at least 10 of these birds, and I can't help but feel like I'm barking up the wrong bird. Maybe the drop rate of the actual, like, bounty item is much lower than I thought. Either that, or I actually am attacking the wrong species, which is hard to do considering I got multiple bird tasks at the same time. At least Jobless Jim's having a great old day out here. I'm really hoping that there is a similar mechanic to Hunter Rumors where if you catch an X amount of that creature, you're guaranteed to get the item that you need, because if I do not, my boat is going to burst. This will be turn number 30 and I've still not received a single feather. I went and watched the replay of when I was getting the task itself to get a bit of a description to see if I was doing anything wrong. I don't think I am. I think my RNG is just quite poor. So I think I'll kill maybe 1 or 2 more birds, teleport out, pay to get my boat reconstructed, and then come out for maybe another session. I could test out the Bofa. I don't know what the DPS difference is going to be. Although I do... Okay, I'm just sinking. Never mind. Okay. I like how my guy's throwing spells from the water. Holy shit. Alright, how much of a problem is that? If I go talk to Sophie, recover my boat, capsized. Alright, she can pluck the wizard out of her snatch, and off we go again. I wonder what happened to Jobless Jim. Is he like just dead Jim now? Let's find out. Oh, he's still there. He's chilling. I guess there isn't a huge penalty for drowning yourself in the ocean, which is good. Alright, if there is going to be a kill count that guarantees some bird feathers, it'll be kill count number 50. Let's find out. Also, appreciate that I didn't need to bring a net to throw out a net. Very good. What isn't very good is that didn't give me any feathers. And I'm definitely in the right place. West of Intrana. And despite it feeling very strange that I've just gone south of Catherby, Intrana's right here. I had no idea. I think this skill is going to like fundamentally reshape my brain and how it like interprets the RuneScape map. I had no idea Intrana and Catherby were essentially right next to each other. I also don't know how 51 birds don't drop a single damn feather, and I need to get 3 of them. Alright, I'm going to move on to the next bird. I've killed 64 of these. My boat has almost died for a second time. I'm going to try out the Ospreys and see if they're just as miserable as these terns. I don't know what is up with this. I need to not have my boat moving while I think about where to go next. I think south of Witch Haven is the destination, but I have not got a single piece of sailing experience. Don't know why the word piece comes to mind, but yes, I've not received any sailing experience in over half an hour. So this feels silly. There's no way this is how this is designed. Something must be funky right now. So hopefully I can find one, the Ospreys, and two, they can actually drop me some loot. Potentially, the only thing that I could think of that could be a problem right now is the order in which I accepted the tasks, and who knows, maybe that is preventing me from getting the drop because it's not currently like lined up, and I don't know, man. Technical things that I don't understand that may have an explanation. Or I'm just unlucky. That's also possible. All I know, this boat is just going down immediately. I don't even know if I'm going to get a single kill count before I'm going to be swimming again. Can I kill it on the way out? This is ridiculous. I should have stayed salvaging. Maybe I can check in with the board. What is the problem, game? This is accepted. You're kidding. You're actually joking. You're telling me in my previous clip, I just sat here on this screen and didn't click accept? Oh my god. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I can't believe that. There's no way. Okay. At least I got some hemp seeds. I think I'll cancel my delivery tasks and go and get myself the turn task. I need to finish this task now. This is absurd. I'm so glad I checked the notice board. I could also edit this out of the video. I could never prove that I'm this dumb. Alright, Sophie. Round 3. Okay. That took 6 birds. That is precisely what I expected on my previous expedition. Also got a flaxseed. Very cool. I still have to remain out on the ocean. I need 2 more feathers. I'm really hoping this gives me a fat dump of experience, but there's no way. Oh, back to... Okay. I feel... Yeah. Learn from my mistakes. That is all I can say. I can drown so you can swim. It is done. We've got 3 feathers. Now, do I test one more thing? I need to head back to Catherby. Question is, can I teleport? I'm going to teleport to my POH unless it tells me not to. Any cargo will be lost, but fortunately this isn't cargo, right? I'll lose the boat. Hopefully I don't lose the feathers. So far, so good. If I do it this way, I could probably repair my boat before I go back out as well. Now, where do I dump this off? The only thing that makes sense here is to claim rewards. Okay, 1800 experience. That was not worth 45 minutes of my time. But that said, I think I'll optimize the next trip a little better than that previous one. Apologies, 99 sex having. My bad, bro. If only you knew what I'd been through. The wiki doesn't currently have drop rates, but I can pretty confidently say this is about a 1 in 4 drop rate for the feather, so I guess on average you kill around 12 birds to get a task complete, and if the task gives you 1800, what is that, 150 experience per bird, and you're not too far away from the dock either. I was teleporting to my house and coming back to Catherby, but honestly, I don't even know if it's any faster than just kind of turning the ship around because you are so damn close. The only exception I'll make is that I will intentionally let myself, or my boat rather, die and fall into the bottom of the ocean because you don't really get punished super hard. Like, you pay a little bit of GP, like big whoop, and then you go straight back out. It feels good to finally get into the swing of things here because this is so close. I don't know, it feels very, very streamlined. And I like how sailing, you can train it in a variety of ways. You can make it feel like Slayer, you can make it feel like Hunter, you could make it feel like a bunch of other skills. So if there's one method you don't like, you can find one that you do. Just make sure you accept a bloody task before you attempt it. You may call me Dido, because I am definitely going down with this ship. No way. There's no way 99 sex having just hits me that hard over the head as I descend. One thing I did want to note, I also got whatever this is. I guess I'll be making coral in the future. I'm going to try out the bow for now. I think this method's okay, but I am burning through IAC charges. Not that that is a huge deal, but at the same time, you go through them quite quickly, and if this is an objectively slower setup, I'm kind of punishing myself for no real reason, so it is time to crack out the Bofa. I don't really want to waste my ranging potions, but I shall try them out. I kind of do hope that this is faster. I'm pretty sure the Bofa outranges the Eye of Hyak fairly significantly, which can be a bit of an issue. I hope that isn't getting more and more expensive each time I send a boat to the bottom of the ocean. That is so good. Holy crap. Alright, the Bofa is way better. I hate to say it. I want to be a fan of the Eye of Ayak, but evidence is evidence, right? And if you were curious, it seems like you can get this task over and over again. I don't think I'm getting good RNG just doing these back to back. But once we hand this one in, we'll actually be able to get ourselves our next level. Let's hit the claim button. That'll be 48, I believe. I have a bit of a strategy. There is the Tortuga quest, or whatever it's called. It will give me 10,000 sailing experience. So I believe if I get to 49 by doing this method, do that quest, I'll be then up to level 50, and I can upgrade my boat from there. We finally got the last feathers we need to get ourselves to 49 sailing. I've not paid much attention whatsoever to the amount of seeds that I'm getting. I might need to start planting these. I'll probably need them in the future, but foresight is great and everything when you actually act upon it, but I'm just going to let them rot because I have a one-track mind, and that is to get level 50 sailing via the next quest that I'd like to complete. What is the actual name of it? Troubled Tortugans. Let's go do that now and get ourselves to level 50. This will work out nicely. After discovering that I cannot indeed fairy ring to the Grand Conch without actually visiting there first, on second thoughts, I will do a couple of plantations around the place. I don't know where to grow hemp or cotton or anything, but I do know there is a hops patch over here. I don't know where anything goes, but I'm going to find out where they go and make sure some of these are at least growing. Let's try hemp first. What does she require to look after it? 6 flax. You know what? I know it's ultra composted and everything, but that is such... That's perfect. I love that. Not like a basket of 15 pineapples or something whack. 6 flax. Don't mind if I do. That's the best payment option ever. I think I'll put some cotton seeds in this one. Apparently it's much higher of a level over hemp. I wouldn't have expected that. I think hemp it was like 38 or something along those lines. And then cotton, man, 71. I don't know why there's such a gap between those two. I might do one last patch in Lumbridge and just see what happens from there. I imagine this will be useful for the sails in the up and coming higher level boats. Whether or not I'll need it to create my level 51, I might just be able to buy it. I'm not 100% sure of the system, but at the very least the upgrades, that will probably be where it comes in handy to have these items fully grown and ready to go. I love how all 3 of these patch I've pretty much not used for the entire duration of this account's history. I'm only using them now for sailing of all things to get utility from them. Maybe I used the one up in the Sears Village for a diary task. I think that the jute plant was there for a reason. Aside from that, yeah, I'm not much of a hops enjoyer. Now that these are growing successfully, I think it is about time we teleport to the Pandemonium. I believe this is the closest starting point to the Grand Conch. This word is not real in my head yet, but I was looking around the map and it seems like the Pandemonium is about as close as we're going to get as a starting point to the Grand Chicken Wing. It's more of a drumstick, isn't it? I don't know what the difference between those two is, but anyway, this place, that's where I'm going next. Even though I don't have like quest helper to click on like blue squares and stuff, I'm actually really enjoying these quests. This one in particular, a good introduction to the area, and the boss fight, it's a good little mid-level sort of boss encounter, but there is 10,000 sailing experience. We may look like a green Squirtle, but we are ready to upgrade our boat. I'm very excited for this. This will also unlock a few extra bounty tasks. I want to try out the Void Knight's outpost. I am a bit of a sucker for pest control. I wonder if their sailing contracts, so to speak, are half decent. So let's go and upgrade our boat and see what things we can kill now. That guy looks very cool. The pest control minigame teleport never ceases to be a pretty powerful option in your toolkit, no matter what level you are. I guess you need to be 40 combat, that is about it. Old mate, Jobless Jim, he's around here as well. But what we really need to consult is the notice board. I'm going to try and cop this Osprey bounty, level 50, so this should be okay if I have my Bofa set up. I'm hoping I don't get sunk, but if I do upgrade my boat as well, I imagine it has a bunch of extra hit points, so it should last a little longer out in the ocean. And turns out the previous task that I've adopted in the Osprey department actually counts, so maybe I can get double Osprey tasks before I come back to port. I do not know. There may be shipwrights elsewhere, but I think I'm just going to have to come back to the Pandemonium. We're going to go buy a boat from Junior Jim. We're going to buy some slop, some pure sailing slop. I know it says sloop. I'm hoping if these get sunk into the ocean, they're not too expensive. But I'm now the proud owner of a big boy boat. Turns out it is quite expensive to move that thing around, so my mistakes get a little bit more expensive each time I upgrade my boat. It would be a nightmare if it was each time I made a mistake, because I would be out of money very, very quickly. The reason why I've come to Silla Vella Fortis, whatever this place is called, is that I need to recover my boat so Senia can give me safe passage toward Port Roberts. This is the closest shipwright that I could find. And Port Roberts is one of the teleports that I have on this amulet. I cannot use it, however, until I access that by myself first. So this will be a nice little shortcut. The whole shipwright system is a bit of a mess to me, but in substitute of having the ability to bring my boat to me with the teleport, that is something I'll probably look into next episode. For the time being, the shipwrights, they're pretty much going to be what I use to kind of teleport around the map. It's just cost me like 50k each time. But as we leave this town here, if we head northeast, Port Roberts isn't too far away. And once we access it the first time, it'll be there forever with our necklace. So this thing is coming in clutch. I didn't realize what I got until after I had gotten it. I really should be grabbing these things here. I don't have a crowbar, and I'm sure that guy can swim pretty well. He'll be fine. I've got bigger fish to fry. My main motivation to coming to this port in particular is that it is close to some ospreys, I believe. A little closer than the Void Knight's outpost. That one was a bitch to get towards, so I've given up on that plan for now. Now that we have landed, have I got the ability to teleport to Port Roberts? The Sailor's Marker. Oh, there it is. On the very eastern side, we've got Gyarados' house. If we tag this thing here, we can now teleport. I trust it. I just want to verify it actually works. Fantastic. The wiki's telling me there is a shipwright in this location, but I for the life of me cannot find it. All I know, there is a notice aboard and there are ospreys on the menu, so we'll be doing a few of these. Hopefully it isn't too far away from the dock, much like Catherby. If I can find a similar setup for a high level monster that gives me more experience, I think we're in for a bit of a treat. Now, it just comes down to finding these damn pesky birds in the first place. And hoping that if I get sunk by one of them, I actually respawn at this dock. Okie dokie, ospreys have been located. If you head directly west of the island and go a little bit south, you'll find yourself a nice flock to kill. The main thing I'm worried about here is how much damage they're going to do to my boat. I know I can upgrade it, but I want to get to 53 sailing as soon as I possibly can. And if I have to introduce another detour, that could be a bit of a problem. But we'll see how much experience I can get from one trip of these. If I get my 3 feathers nice and quickly, that'll be nice. But my goal, of course, is to get to 53 sailing. Once we reach that, we'll be able to achieve the next level in salvaging. And once we do hit that level, it'll be time to get up the double hook setup. It's going to be sick. I'm already worried about the longevity of this boat. This is going to be a little grim. If I can at least get a task complete before I get sunk, and then I can respawn at the island, who knows? It could be like an efficient route. Although I am a little bit worried as to the longevity of how long this boat is going to last. I really do hate to say it, but I think ospreys, they're going to be a dud. Essentially, I need a high-level bounty task, maybe a turn or something like that, that is close by to a dock and that has a shipwright. I need those 3 criteria to be met, and I don't think Port Roberts is going to be the one to meet it. Shipwright Scott here to save the day. How much does it cost to recover a boat? 75 grand. I've already lost a mil so far. The game's lucky. I'm curious to see how much experience this osprey is going to get me. It'd have to be pretty hefty, because goddamn, they hit like trucks. I don't know how easy this would be to replicate, but I found a safe spot. If I could find a consistent safe spot, we might be cooking here, but I highly doubt it. My gut kind of tells me that this is a bug and will be fixed in the future, but it would be nice if I could take 0 damage every time I did this. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, I can say that I'm never going to do these again. These things have so much health, they hit so hard, and they're very, very accurate. I think what I'm going to try next is the butterfly manta ray. I think that's what it's called. I'm going to intentionally let an osprey kill my boat, and then I'm going to resummon it over at the Pandemonium. Give those a go. Surely those things aren't as painful as these. These are just next level awful. The turfs were great, or whatever they're called. That might be something different. Alright, the boat has been sunk. Moment of truth. How much experience did that give me? 4.3. Okay, that's terrible. That is so bad. Okay. Oh well, we live and we learn. It is time to leave this island and to go back to the other one. Hopefully this will be a bit better experience. Let's check in with the notice board. Where are my rays of choice? Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit stumped, but turns, they work pretty well in Catherby. Hopefully they work here as well. I just don't know where they are. I'll have to track them down first. I guess that's the trouble with like skilling like this on the first couple of days. The wiki just has no like locations for anything. You kind of have to realistically try to piece it all together yourself, which kind of slows you down a whole lot. I was about to resign to Catherby being like my destination of choice. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But if I only need one item whilst I'm at the Pandemonium, maybe this is worth doing. It's a little further away than Catherby, so I'm not 100% sure. The only thing that will kind of influence me one way or another is to know the drop rate of this beak, which at this stage I really do not know. Let's see if the experience is the same when I hand it in. It is, okay. Might be able to cook. So unsurprisingly, I believe these turns, the amount of kills that you need on average to get this singular beak, I think it would be approximately 3 times more than the feathers. So it's kind of like DT2 rings in a sense. It's like, do you want to guarantee the drop more on average? When you spread out the golden rings or whatever it is, you got to get the 3 before you get the vestige. Or do you want to go for gold? Do you just want to get one item and just hope for the best? You could spoon it instantly, or you could go super dry. Because it does seem that way and the wiki can't confirm it otherwise, I think I'm going to go back to Catherby. Because like I said before, it wasn't broken, and I'm not going to try and fix it. Although if there's some other tasks on that notice board in Catherby, I might try them out. Give me that experience. Feel like it's been a long time since I've seen one of these, but we're going to get 51 sailing coming in now. I'm really thinking the more I'm on the waters right now, I just need to upgrade this boat. I'm stuck in this weird position that I want to set up and get 53 as soon as I possibly can. But if I'm not upgrading my ship, I can't really like kill manta rays and do like higher XP methods because my ship will just get eaten alive. So I'm stuck between, do I just suck it up and invest that time to get the upgrades, or do I just suck it up and just take the L on my experience rates per hour? I've decided, instead of making a choice between those two shitty options, I'm going to go back to the old faithful. But before we do that, we need to make sure Jim is once again unemployed. Oh my god, that has a teleport. Holy smokes. Now, to be fair, I'm not putting the man in unemployment, I'm just outranking him. I don't think I'm kicking him off the boat, but from what I've heard, this man, he likes sailing, and he can join our crew. He'll have a higher skill set than old mate Jim, and he's the man that I need operating the second hook. That was an easy discussion. I like how Jagex is kind of tying in old ends and implementing into sailing. The man was quite fond of sailing, he just had to wait a couple of decades to participate. But today is the day. I'm hoping if I bring my plank sack, I can make both mithril hooks in one inventory. We'll see how this goes. Okie dokie, it is time to shine. Our boat is getting a monumental upgrade. And I'm way more proud of myself than I should be for remembering that I own a plank sack. Can empty that bad boy, take the rest of them out, and build my second hook. This is gonna be sick. I think one thing worth noting is that if you're making another boat, like if you've upgraded much like I have, you'll have to build the salvaging station once again. The previous things that you've built for your other boats, they don't really go across, so you gotta start from scratch all over again. So with that said, I think it's time we build one for this boat over here. We are ready to go, we're looking good. I would have assumed after my conversation with old mate in the desert he'd be in my crew by default, but I just hopped on my boat then and Jobless Jim was the only man with me, so you will need to talk to this NPC over here and configure your crew a little bit. Because I'm not level 55 yet, it turns out Jim is unemployed once again. Okay, I have made a grave error. I upgraded the hull and the sails of my previous boat, and like I said before, the upgrades on your previous boats do not carry through to your new ones. Back to the docks, this dickhead has to go. Hey, the hemp guru, thank you Flax for being the payment option. This is going to be necessary to upgrade my sails. I believe I'll need at least 10 of these, turn them into balls of whatever the hell, and then take them to a loom and turn them into bolts of cloth of whatever the hell. It's a very simple process. I've just made the extra large mahogany plank thingamajiggies, so after I've harvested these, processed them twice, I'll be good to go. Although, I thought I'd get much more than 12. I think technically I only need 10 as a minimum. But I will replant these seeds before I head out. I'm finding that Prifdinus is a pretty solid option if you've got yourself a construction cape or your house is located here, or you have a teleport crystal. You've got both a spinning wheel as well as a loom over here, so it will definitely come in handy when you need to do all these ad hoc things. And this is the part of the video where I realize I'm 4 bolt of canvas short. It's not a 1-to-1 ratio, and 12 hemp is definitely not enough. Judging by that, I would have needed 20. With that said, I am going to bed. I will do this in the morning. I hate being addicted to this game right now. This is really annoying. Instead of making the sales that I want to make right now, I'm just going to make the minimum necessary ones that I can use to access the Barracuda Trials area, and I believe that is oak. If it's not, I truly need to go to bed. But we're going to make these for now, and I believe I'll be able to make the appropriate hull, which is one good thing, I suppose. I believe that is all the materials we need. It is time to upgrade the hull. This one won't need to be redone, which is fortunate, at least not until level 67, so 100 extra hit points. Super, super nice. I think it'll also move 0.5 faster. Yeah, definitely will. 1.5 up to 2.0. Not too shabby at all. Let's build it. I've just realized my boat's name is Manta, which I personally think is quite cool. I don't know if names can be duplicated or not, but out of the 3 that I've gotten so far, this would be my favorite. But now that the boat is moderately upgraded, it is time to go AFK out on the seas and not be electrocuted in the process. After passing through the entire gauntlet of tasks required to allow myself to salvage in peace, I finally managed to do so. We've sat on our butts at the Barracuda Trials, at least on the outskirts of it, and AFK'd ourselves up to 54 sailing. 53 is all I needed, but at the same time, I was pretty keen to stay there for a while. Once I kind of get into my AFK groove, I'm quite reluctant to leave, but I'm going to force myself to head southeast of the Grand Conch, and we're going to head to our next destination. It's going to be a bit of a trek. I don't know any other way to get there apart from sailing the entire time, but as I wrap up this video, I just wanted to say, I think Jagex, they've done a great job with sailing. I know a lot of people feel like the skill is quite slow, but I suspect what might be happening is the total amount of time required to 1 to 99 this skill. It might be average, but they've weighted a lot of the time you spend in the skill towards the early levels. I actually think that's pretty smart. It's made me really yearn for those next levels and improvements, and it makes the early levels not feel super arbitrary. If you're leveling construction or something like this, you can go from getting some sort of oak upgrade to a teak upgrade in like an hour. Whereas sailing, it feels like things are more spread out, and every upgrade that you do get feels a bit more meaningful. But I don't know, sailing, my initial impressions are quite high. I was skeptical, very skeptical of this skill, and I've been pleasantly surprised. So my only advice, if you aren't enjoying the skill as much as you think you could, I'd say sit back, enjoy the ride, and don't try and pressure yourself to level this thing up as soon as you possibly can, because in the long run, I think it's going to level out pretty nicely. The only thing I don't know the answer to is how this skill is going to feel to level up in a year's time from now. Because the game feels so alive, there's boats literally everywhere, you cannot get a world to yourself. There is a very much spark, a lot of energy in the community, and sailing feels like a very vibrant skill in the moment. So I won't know what this skill will feel like to train in the future, but for the time being, on release, this has been perfect. It's been super fun, I've enjoyed it, and the skill itself has been fairly intuitive, despite some hiccups from time to time. But I think that is my initial thoughts on the skill. 2 thumbs up from me, but I look forward to continue training it into the future, and that'll start with these large shipwrecks down here in the southeastern portion of the map. So between this video and the next one, I'm going to AFK like a beast, and we're going to start at 54 sailing and see where we end up. So until the next video, thank you for watching this one. Let me know what you think of sailing in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one.